Hi, I'm Nija, and today we are talking about yoga therapy and Ayurveda for heart disease. So let's get started. Let me start with sharing my screen. Okay, so as I said, that today's topic is yoga therapy and Ayurveda for heart disease. But before we start, a little bit about me. I'm Nirja as a principal consultant and course facilitator, uh, as well as a yoga therapist. And I work with Ayurveda Awareness Center in Australia. So heart disease or cardiovascular disease or CVD is a phrase used for a variety of conditions that affect the heart structure and functions. And there are many diseases that come under this umbrella, including coronary heart disease, heart attack, heart failure, arrhythmias, aneurysm, rheumatic heart disease, congenital heart disease, cardiomyopathy, myocarditis, pericarditis, valvular disease. They all come under that umbrella. So what we are talking here today is generic information because specific programs are really made for individuals specifically for their condition and where they are at. But what we are sharing today is some information that you may find useful for making a decision if you want to use Ayurveda and yoga therapy as part of your treatment plan for any heart conditions, or generically giving you some information for anyway for your interest and benefit. So let's start with some statistics. According to World Health Organization, cardiovascular disease or CVDs are the leading cause of death globally, taking an estimated 17.9 million lives each year. And according to Heart Research Australia, heart disease is Australia's leading single cause of death, with more than 18,500 deaths attributed to heart disease in Australia in 2017. Heart disease kills one Australian every 28 minutes. And according to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, USA trusted source, approximately every 14 seconds, an American will have a heart attack. In the United States, 1 in every 4 deaths is the result of a heart disease. Looking at risk and factors, according to World Health Organization, the most important behavioral risk factor of heart disease and stroke are unhealthy diet, physical inactivity, tobacco use, and harmful use of alcohol. And most cardiovascular disease can be prevented by addressing all these mentioned behavioral risk factors. And in that context, yoga, Ayurveda, and natural therapies can play an important role in preventing as well as management of cardiovascular disease. Talking about yoga and Ayurveda, both are two interrelated branches of the same tradition. Together, Ayurveda and yoga form a complete approach for optimal health, vitality, and higher awareness. Each one of them has its unique place and function, but each overlaps into the other on many levels. This combination of yoga and Ayurveda can also provide the basis for a real dialogue with modern medicine, addressing not only specific therapies, but also the real causes of disease and how to maintain health and well-being in society. Both of them are ancient sciences, have been around for thousands of years, according to the text. Looking at Ayurveda in modern context, From the last few decades, there is a global concern on raising trends of chronic and non-communicable disease, or NCDs, an epidemic of lifestyle-related disease like diabetes, obesity, heart disease, typically a result of stress, improper diet, and irregular or sedentary lifestyle. Ayurvedic lifestyle supports physical, mental, as well as social health, and these lead to improvement in disease process, disease symptoms, and improvement in the quality of life, helping in the prevention and management of disease. Pursuing the healthy living style mentioned in Ayurveda is in the form of daily and seasonal routines, good food habits, and appropriate physical exercise, as mentioned in the Ayurvedic text, is one of the best ways for prevention of any disease. There has been plenty of research done now indicating the value of Ayurveda and lifestyle management for heart disease, including for reducing stress and hypertension, which are major contributors for any disease. Yoga therapy in modern context, let's look at that. Even there has been plenty of research done indicating now the value of yoga and lifestyle therapies for heart disease, including for reducing stress and hypertension, which are the major contributions for any disease, just like for Ayurveda, research has been done. So yoga also improves heart health by increasing circulation and blood flow. Practicing yoga and Ayurveda appropriately can help lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood glucose levels, as well as the heart rate. They can all add up to a lower risk of hypertension, stroke, and heart disease. Talking about emotional heart. Heart has always been the symbol of life and love, of joy and happiness, of courage and faith. In ancient writings, the heart is considered as the seat of sensation and consciousness. It is considered the seat of emotions. Reducing burden of emotional heart and emotional stress, bringing some joy and peace in the heart are important considerations for anyone, including for patients with heart disease. Let's talk about what some of the other people are saying. Hugh Calkins, MD and Director of Cardiac Arrhythmia Service at Johns Hopkins, says a large number of studies show that yoga benefits many aspects of cardiovascular health. There's been a major shift in last 5 years or so in the number of cardiologists and other professionals recognizing that these benefits are real. Dr. Gloria Ye, an associate professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School, says yoga is unique because it incorporates physical activity, breathing, and meditation. As she explains, each of these elements positively affects cardiovascular risk factors, so combining them was bound to show a benefit. Let's look at what yoga and Ayurveda offer for heart disease. First, relaxation, meditation, and yoga nidra. So we know that stress by itself can cause heart disease and is one of the important risk factors for many health conditions, including heart disease. Looking after emotional heart and reducing stress is an important consideration in any yoga therapy and Ayurveda protocol. In that context, including Shavasana, Yoga Nidra, and meditation are key parts of the protocol. Then mantra chanting. There's plenty of research that indicates the value of mantra chanting, including Om chanting. At another level, yoga and Ayurveda talk about soul or Atma, which is more subtle than the mind and so cannot be fully comprehended by the mind. In that sense, any research cannot fully explain the benefit of chanting, but it has been found very valuable in physical, emotional and spiritual growth and well-being. Chanting or contemplation or even listening of the sacred sound of Om helps a heart patient recover. Chanting of Anahat Chakra Bij Mantra or mental recitation of mantra Yam can also be used for people with heart disease. Sorry. And now talking about asanas, bandhas, and pranayam. In general, the postures that extend the spine and expand the chest benefit the patients with heart disease. It is well known that many heart attacks occur when a person is bending forward, which compresses the chest, forcing the abdomen and diaphragm against it, decreasing the space for the heart and lungs, restricting their movement, reducing blood flow and oxygenation to the heart and lungs both, which can precipitate a heart attack if heart is already weak or the person is obese. Let's look at some contraindications first. Inverted postures are generally contraindicated for people with high blood pressure and some other disease. Some modified variations may be done gently with use of props, depending on the condition of the patient. Surya Namaskar, Sarvangasana, Halasana, Shirshasana, and its variations, fast breathing, right nostril breathing, Agnisardhauti, Basarika Pranayam, any pranayam with kumbhak, Vamandauti, Shank Prakshalan, whether Lagu or Pun Shank Prakshalan, cleansing practices, these are all contraindicated for people with heart disease. The Shat Karmas can be good and useful for prevention, but contraindicated if someone already has heart disease. Though Jalneti or Tratak can be done. Looking at asanas, bandhas, and pranayam. Simple and gentle supine postures with gentle breathing, no forcing or straining, with some hamstring stretches kind of postures can help loosen and warm the muscles in lower extremities, hip and lower spine while improving circulations. Abdominal postures or prone position postures can also create abdominal pressure on chest on heart, as well as heart. So they also require caution and gentleness. It is better to be conservative and do them gently and without holding breath, especially people who have had a heart surgery, have high BP, or any condition with weakened heart. So that is why all these therapies are tailor-made subjectively for individuals. Standing postures can be sometimes hard, especially for older people who have heart disease if they have poor balance. So they need to be introduced gently depending on patient's condition and age and comorbidities. Practicing pranayam is limited only to gentle inhalation and exhalation exercises for heart patients. Left nostril breathing, Anulom Vilom, deep breathing, Ujjayi pranayam without kumbhak, Brahmari pranayam without kumbhak are good pranayam for people with heart disease. And some useful asanas are Tadagasan, Vajrasan series, Pavan Muktasan, Ardha Chakrasan, Anantasan, Bhujangasan, Dhanurasan, Kati Chakrasan, Tadasan, and Tiryak Tadasan. They are some of the useful asanas. And bandhas and breath retention are contraindicated because bandhas and breath retention boost blood pressure and so are not good for the heart. So for heart patients, only deep breathing kind of exercise is suggested. Looking at Ayurvedic Snehana massage with Rud Basti and Shirodhara treatments, they can be very, very useful in de-stressing. And Rud Basti, especially with Arjun oil or Ashwagandha oil, can be very useful in strengthening the physical heart. So these are all what are possibilities, but individually we will work out what is required and what needs to be done. And in Ayurvedic herbs, Arjun is very, very useful, typically for a patient with heart disease. And another good one to know is ashwagandha. There are many more which are possibilities and can be recommended on a case-to-case basis. These or other herbs, that is why they need to be taken only after consulting a practitioner. Hriday mudra or heart gesture or apanavayu mudra is a good mudra for people with heart disease. Foods to favor will be normal foods with less fats and carbohydrates and with high fibers. In general, a sattvic diet will be recommended. And another word to consider is mitahar, moderation in food intake, typically plant-based and low food diet. And foods to avoid will be non-vegetarian foods, milk and milk products, oily and spicy foods, refined and processed foods, fast foods, preserved foods, and too much salt. Now, here is a list of some interesting research publication. It's just a sample. There are many more research publications, but here is some sample. And so if in case you are interested, you can have a further look. And coming back to what we do at Ayurveda Awareness Center, we assist people in understanding living in the moment, and we support people as they find their true life balance and purpose using the tools and techniques of Ayurveda and yoga. And that is why you can, if you want to work with us and know more about these things, you can come for education, you can come for consultation, you can book with us for detox and rejuvenation kind of treatments. And there are various ways of connecting with us through website, through phone call, email, or Facebook.